Hey there, Gemini, and welcome to your March 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anybody who is working on their self-expression, spiritual growth, or personal development in any form. So if those areas of life are intriguing to you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. You can use this reading for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. It's also possible if sometimes none of them resonate, as these are just general readings. However, if it doesn't make sense to you right now, I encourage you to come back to this reading at the end of March, because a lot of times the feedback that I get from people is that it makes a lot more sense and they draw a lot more conclusions by the end of the month, especially if it didn't make sense when they first heard it. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your reading. So I had some really interesting energy coming through for you. I kept getting the phoenix as a symbol, so this was really interesting to me because the phoenix is really a symbol of rebirth. And for you, I felt that this creature and this kind of symbolism was coming forward because in some way in March you could be going through a process of reinvention. I feel like there's also this sense of you having maybe conquered a fear recently and really feeling like you're kind of rising from the ashes of that experience, which may have been really difficult and painful at some parts. So if you're feeling a renewed sense of liberation at all in March, or as we get near March, I would say I expect that feeling to get just a little sweeter as we go through the month, and even more, I guess, freeing for you. I also was getting this impression that I want to say for you, Gemini, the rules are changing, and I don't know what that specifically means for you because each of you have your own unique experience, but I feel like the rules of your life are changing in some way. So it's time to adapt to the new, I guess, parameters, which are probably more expanded in your life, but there are new goals, new rules, and new parameters. So maybe you're changing your focus a little bit on what you want to accomplish, seeing some changes in terms of the direction that you're moving in, but at the same time, there's new rules and new, like the game is basically changing in your life. And so this is a really good time to use that Geminian adaptive quality that you have and really work with this, because I feel like an excitement, I feel an inspiration with this. I also really briefly saw like a woman kind of turn her face and there was almost like henna or some kind of tattoo or drawing, kind of vines, and almost as I'm trying to recall it, it was like vines and sort of spirals on the face. So I don't know if that is something literal for some of you, if you're maybe doing like a festival, or if you're doing some body art, or if you're getting a tattoo, or if there's anything along those lines coming into your like frame of reference this month. But I feel overwhelmingly that this image, whether or not you have something to do with that type of concept specifically, it really feels to me more like a renewed way that you're expressing yourself, okay? And it's very symbolic and it's very personal and very authentic. So that's the energy that I'm picking up for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. Gemini. Okay. I'm using the Radiant Wise Spirit deck. I absolutely love this deck. I have a link in the Show More section if you want to check it out, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I think it's gorgeous. All right, let's take a look. Wow, we've got hyena. as the path and the swan as the influence. Interesting. So I feel, and maybe some of you guys can, if you've been following the channel for a while, I feel, and maybe I'm remembering this incorrectly, but I feel like you guys have gotten hyena at some point recently. Yeah, it just is looking familiar to me right now. But what I'm getting with this, these are very different energies, which illustrates to me that there is almost a sense with you this month that you could be experiencing some extremes of the themes in your life. On the one hand, you could feel at times like things are coming together so gracefully and so beautifully with the swan, and feeling this kind of radical, creative, but also very refined energy, like a refinement of your skills, a refinement of maybe whatever you do as a creative person or an entrepreneur. This could also be a refinement of your voice. For example, if you're a writer or a singer or, anything that you do along those lines, there's a sense of a refinement, there's a sense of growth and reflection, and really kind of seeing your craft is evolving, and that's a really exciting thing. But at the same time, you have this hyena card as your path, which again, I could be wrong, but this is feeling familiar to me for you guys, where I think that there's this almost potential where, like, internally you could be looking at your situation and almost kind of being a little bit too hard on yourself, or you could be having new situations obviously bring in new fears, and new fears can sometimes also result in new things that we doubt ourselves about, I guess, because you're trying your hand at something new, or you're embracing a new situation, seeing also an ending perhaps in some area of your life, or within some chapter of your life, particularly for you, because we do have this full moon coming up in Virgo on March 9th, which is happening in your 4th house, symbolically, Gemini. So this is going to be, typically full moons can bring closures and endings, and it's like the closing of a chapter, essentially, when it comes to your home life. So some of you could be moving, some of you could be making the decision to start planning a move, perhaps, or you could get into some kind of a, maybe an agreement or even a disagreement with somebody like a landlord, or somebody who is owning a property that you're on, whether it's a landlord or maybe a family member or a parental figure, depending on the situation. There could be some tensions which are leading you to almost this overwhelming conclusion that maybe it's time for you to move on, or perhaps it's time for you to radically change the energy in your home. If Virgo, for you, Gemini, if you're not literally thinking about moving, this Virgo full moon could be giving you this idea of maybe restructuring things in your home life and really learning maybe some new routines, redecorating, getting rid of some stuff, having a garage sale, or putting some things on Craigslist. Even changes to like your personal relationships which affect your living situation can also be at hand at this time. So there's a lot with this, and I feel like there could be a tendency to be a little hard on yourself, or if this isn't necessarily about your inner self-talk, this hyena card could also be referring to maybe even kind of the doubting or sometimes a little bit rude or nasty comments from others. That could be online or it could be in person. Like I said before, if your living situation is changing and you know that you need to do that for yourself or for your self-care, you may also have to deal with somebody maybe who you are living with at present, but that you know you need to move away from, who might be kind of trying to plant the seed of doubt in your mind, like, oh, Gemini, you can't afford to live on your own, or oh, you can't, you think you're gonna do this or that, or they might be kind of giving you a little bit of kind of lippiness, like a little bit of rudeness or cheekiness. But I feel like overall, though, the thing to do with this energy is to channel it into your creative output. That's the Swan card, which is influencing you. And it's funny because it's so true. Sometimes when we have really big changes in our personal life or we're going through some things, that's actually sometimes when we make the best art. It's sometimes when we are the clearest channels. I mean, it's not always that way. Obviously, you know, if we're talking about readers or astrologers or psychics or anything, you know, sometimes you do need to take a break from, you know, things of that nature or even creative things when you're going through some stuff. But there's also periods in your life where you might be going through legitimately some big changes on a personal level or with your living situation or with whatever grounds you and stabilizes you, which is also the fourth house. You could be going through some big shifts in those areas, but actually it really motivates you and you don't know why necessarily, but inexplicably you feel rejuvenated, you feel clear, you feel ready for the next step, you feel like you've got a handle on things, even though on the outer level there's a lot to do and there's a lot of unknowns. Internally, you actually feel very clear. So that could be the case. When we're looking at these cards, it could be the case that maybe removing yourself from any negativity or maintaining awareness of any negativity that you have going on in your own mind and really channeling whatever unknowns you're going into or whatever fears you may have, channeling that energy instead of having it inside as anxiety, channeling it into your art. So let's take a look at your cards, and we'll also get a Bob Ross message for you. Gemini. Okay, so we've got Nine of Wands with the Knight of Pentacles, Page of Wands, and the Three of Pentacles. We've got the Empress, Ten of Cups, beautiful, Page of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. Okay, this is really, really awesome. I do feel that this is a time for you, Gemini, to be resilient. This is a time for you to persist in spite of whatever disinclinations you may have in regards to the journey that you're on or that you're about to partake in. I think that the positives outweigh the negatives by far in this reading, but you're gonna have to, especially in that first week of March, you're gonna have to proceed with like total trust in yourself, even when you don't have a lot of outside proof that things are going to go well. They are. So this reading can be part of what gives you that outside proof that trusting yourself is worthwhile at this time, as opposed to putting all of your faith in like external things or people. Because in the first week of March, we have the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. So this is about persisting despite feeling a bit weary. Okay, this is about persisting with a new path, even though you may have some doubts or reservations. The Knight of Pentacles, to me, in this reading is like, here you are kind of feeling a little bit tired or a little bit uncertain of the future, having walked a long journey just to get where you are now, and you're almost kind of like, well, like I would really love some kind of North Star to guide me right now. I would really like to get like some kind of sign from the universe to actually move forward. But the Knight of Pentacles is saying you're probably going to get that. So if you're really looking for some confirmation, Gemini, I would just say ask the universe to give you a heads up. Ask the universe to give you a sign, because if that's all you need is a sign, I bet that the universe will give it to you. And I feel like you will get more serious about whatever this new journey is. And look behind him, the field is fallow in the Knight of Pentacles card. So it's in between plantings, but he's got his pentacle here. He's on his, strong Clydesdale looking horse here. So he's very set on his journey. He's determined. He's not deterred by the fact that there's no big luscious garden right here. He's like, I gotta make it. I'm gonna go the distance. I'm gonna make this happen for myself. So I do see you kind of setting your sights on something and sort of almost kind of getting grounded into a new path. You're making some kind of decision despite some sort of doubts or hesitations or fearfulness. You're going to persist. And I think that as you make that choice, and as we get closer into that full moon in Virgo on March 9th, also Mercury will be turning direct at that point, your ruler. So you're going to be getting a sense of forward motion in general, right? As Mercury turns direct to your ruler, you're going to feel like, okay, yeah, I can start to piece these things together. I know what I'm doing. You're going to feel more natural, I want to say. So with the Three of Pentacles and the Page of Wands, I think that there's some kind of good opportunity that comes in through either a work environment or through your relationship with a professional colleague, or even in your industry somehow. There's the Page of Wands. So this is a fresh start. It's being maybe a newcomer to something, but at the same time feeling like you have certain beginner's luck with it, right? This is a happy card. This is a card of being inspired. This is a card of pursuing your interests and curiosities. And the Three of Pentacles is seeing other people responding positively to that, because here we have the craftsman here. We also have a craftsman here, and there's these other people watching the craftsman and seemingly admiring what he's doing. So for you, Gemini, I feel like this is a time where your creative talents are going to be appreciated, even if you feel, as a Page of Wands, even if you feel like you are entry level or a newcomer to something, you're going to be getting some positive feedback, or there's going to be a couple of people around you who are admiring your work, and this could lead you towards a lot of good opportunities in the future. So it's exciting. And what we see here in the third week of March, which is a time when we have a lot of shifts going on in the sky. We have between March 20th and 24th, we've got Saturn moving into Aquarius, which is a really big deal. We also have the Sun moving into Aries, and then we have a new moon in Aries on the 24th. So a lot of shifting in energy, more towards the active side of things. Obviously, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into spring, Southern Hemisphere going into autumn, so there's a big seasonal shift. And all of this stuff, I think, is going to bring in a lot of optimism and positive energy for you, Gemini. I see you really flourishing at this time, around the third week of March. There could be some kind of also positive reunion, maybe with a mother figure, or peace being made with a mother figure if you have had issues with a mother figure or a woman in your past. This could also be you if you are doing anything creative, Gemini, whether you're male or female. The Empress represents creativity in the most kind of raw and earthy and personal way. So it's like how we generate ideas and conceive of ideas within ourselves, and how we kind of, almost similar to a pregnancy, carry that idea full term and, are able to give birth to it. And again, that's not gender specific. It's just, the creative process and being able to sort of sustain that vitality, sustain that sense of commitment and life, really like sustaining life long enough to create something new. And I see, potentially some really big energy around that for some of you with the Ten of Cups. You could be finishing a huge project in the third week of March, or you could be being admitted into a group that is maybe prestigious or exclusive, or is just like-minded and positive, of people who share your particular creative skill or who are in your industry. For example, you could be joining a union, or you could be joining a meetup group or club, or joining a professional network of, maybe if you're like a healer, for example, with the Empress, she can definitely represent natural healing. So maybe you're joining a group, if you're, let's say, a nutrition coach or a life coach or something like that. You could be joining a group of, people who have similar but also complementary healing, businesses, and maybe figuring out a way to uplift and support each other while you all have this kind of successful environment around you with the Ten of Cups. This could also be motherhood for some of you if you are specifically looking to conceive or if you are nearing the process of giving birth. Either way, though, we have this sense of really being where you belong, Gemini, in that third week of March, and really being able to express your true self with the Empress within a social group or an environment, which is the Ten of Cups. But either way, this is super happy energy. I think that you're going to be feeling great. I think you're going to be feeling right at home within yourself primarily, and then also within your environment. So that's definitely something to celebrate. And then we have the Page of Cups, which is another reason why I was saying, you know, that there could be some births out there among people who are watching this, because the Page of Cups for me is a natural significator for a newborn or a baby. So with the Page of Cups, there can definitely be, especially when it comes up with the Empress in the same spread, definitely we have that theme of something new coming in. Even if it's not, you know, physically a tangible physical baby, it could be a book baby, or it could be a new business or a new passion that you're studying, or getting maybe certified in something and feeling like you're ready to sort of take on the world, which is also the Knight of Wands. The Page of Cups with the Knight of Wands, I personally feel is showing you kind of as a dreamer, Gemini. At the end of the month, I see you being sort of, I want to just say, really spontaneous and genuine, authentic. I see you feeling pretty excited about what you're doing. I see that the world is moving obstacles out of your way with these cards. And I think that you yourself are finding options that are motivating to you, that are enlivening to you, and that you're really seeking those options from a very personal space with the Page of Cups. And the Knight of Wands too, with these cards, it's saying clearly, you know, it's okay if you feel like a beginner. It's okay if you feel it's okay if you feel a little bit like a fool, like the Fool card I get with these. It also kind of reminds me of, this is so funny, but it reminds me of this Zen phrase, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it says something like chasing a fierce tiger while riding a blind donkey. It's just a short snippet of Zen phrase that I remember. It just chasing a fierce tiger while riding a blind donkey. I love it. I love it for you. I feel like this is so accurate because in a way, I feel like, well, most Zen sayings and quotes can be interpreted in a lot of ways, but I think that sometimes that is what we have to do, right? Like that is what we have to do. We have to give ourselves permission to chase the fierce tiger, chase something that we might be afraid of, while we feel like we're riding a blind donkey. We feel like we don't know what the hell we are doing. But that's the whole process, because if you don't let yourself do that, you're never going to learn. You're never going to advance. You're never going to grow. If you don't let yourself ride that freaking blind donkey after whatever it is that you really want, but you're also genuinely terrified of. Like that is it. That is the whole crux of life, because it's about trusting that even when you don't think you know, there is a part of you that does. And that part of you can only come out when you're running full speed ahead, blindly, like, you know, feeling like an ass, making an ass of yourself. But I think that it's actually, you know, when done in the right way, obviously respectfully, there are some situations in life where you can't necessarily take this perspective. If you're a doctor or something, or if you're healing someone, you have to know sort of what you're doing. But in the process of becoming a healer or becoming a doctor or becoming a writer, becoming a business owner, you got to let yourself, you know, just run for it. You got to let yourself fall flat on your face a few times. We all learn how to crawl before we can walk, and we learn how to walk before we can run. And there's a whole bunch of missteps along that process. So just really getting into the spirit of that and allowing yourself to kind of embrace the Zen-ness of that approach, I think is going to be really useful. Now, speaking of Zen, let's Let's get a message from the master. Bob Ross says, look around. Look at what we have. Beauty is everywhere. You only have to look to see it. You only have to look to see it. Yeah. And I think that the beauty in this reference, like what it's referring to, is almost the beauty of like opportunities and potentials and what you, Gemini, are capable of. Like, I feel that this is about really looking for how you can add value to the world and how you can add value within your business or within your skill set, within maybe your hobbies or your passions or your dreams or your goals, looking for ways that you can genuinely add value, even in what you think are small ways. I think that really opens the door for things that are bigger than you could ever imagine. So embrace the magic of that and recognize that your environment and your life itself is alive with potential. And all you have to do is be willing to see it, okay? So I hope this reading has been helpful to you, Gem, you precious gem. I'm sending you so much love. I hope that you have an amazing month in March. And if you would like to let me know in the comments that you enjoyed this reading, I would love to hear from you. You can leave me some little high-fiving hands if you want to leave me a little high-five hands emoji. Let me know you're still here and that you're enjoying it. That would be awesome. Or you can just give this video a thumbs up. You can leave any sort of comment. You can share this video with your friends, help it get more views. All of those things really help my channel. There are a million bajillion things on YouTube that you could be watching, and I'm so honored that you are watching my videos. So thank you so much for being here all the way to the end. I adore you guys. I hope that you have an amazing month, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much, Gemini. I will talk to you soon. Bye.